I'm really excited to get to do this because this copywriter has been a mentor for me for a long time. So I asked if I could do this. I actually am very nervous when I'm on the stage. It's not my favorite place to be. I'm a writer, so I'd prefer to be where you are. But it's just really a thrill to do this. So most of you probably didn't dream of one day becoming a copywriter when you were little. But eventually, after heading down a traditional career path, an interest in writing and desire to live on your own terms led you on a journey to find a new, less traveled path. A path that ultimately led you to what we call at AWAI, the writer's life. Of course, the catalyst for wanting a change is different for all of us. Maybe you wanted to make more money, or you wanted to spend more time with your family. Maybe you wanted the freedom to travel without having to worry how many vacation days you have left. Or maybe you simply wanted to work when you felt most productive, and not because the hours were between 9 to 5. For Nick Usborne, he simply wanted to upgrade his sleeping situation. You see, he was living in London at a friend's house with a few other people. Nick's spot was on a mattress on the bathroom floor. Pretty good motivator for wanting to change careers, right? Think good catalyst? Okay. Fortunately for Nick, one of the other guys living in the house worked at an advertising agency, and one day Nick simply asked, "Is it fun?" The guy said it was. It never occurred to Nick that advertising agencies even existed. He simply thought that companies created their own marketing materials. So he took out the yellow pages, and he looked at the first 20 advertising agencies he found, and he wrote them each a letter. He got 3 interviews and 1 job offer just from taking that action. He was shuffled through various departments at the agency, and it was while doing a stint in the creative department that he found that he had this passion for copywriting. And that's how it all began. He simply wanted a job so that he could afford to move his mattress from the bathroom to the bedroom. In the early days of his career, he worked in direct mail, honing his craft like many copywriters under the watchful eye of mentors. But when the internet took off in the 90s, he saw a big opportunity. He switched gears and focused solely on writing for the web. Along with creating a new career that would later be called the online copywriter, he published the first book ever written on online copywriting called Net Words, Creating High-Impact Online Copy. Over his 30-year career, Nick has worked for big names such as AOL, Citibank, TV Guide, the New York Times, Yahoo, and Disney, among many others. He's won 15 awards for packages that he wrote for the results of the promotion. He also became an in-demand industry expert and writing for publications for ClickZ, Marketing Profs, iMedia Connection, and Business 2.0. These days, Nick balances his time between writing online sales letters for clients and passing on his knowledge and experience to the next generation of writers, both speaking at events like this one, Bootcamp and the Web Copy Intensive, as well as through many of our popular programs like How to Write Money-Making Website and Web Copywriting 2.0. Along with being a highly sought-out copywriter, he's a gifted teacher who's genuinely eager to help other writers make the leap and find the fulfillment that he has over the years as a copywriter. I once asked Nick, if you could give future copywriters advice but only had 5 words, what would you say? His answer was, work at what you love. Exactly, 5 words. He went on to say that being a freelancer isn't always easy. You have days when you don't feel like working, and you don't have a boss to keep an eye on you. If you don't love the work you do, I should do this with an English accent, but I won't. I don't want to offend anybody. If you don't love the work that you do, slogging your way through each day can be a misery. But when you work on something you love, each day is a joy and a pleasure. When you love what you do, you will do better work, enjoy it more, and earn more. He's living proof. I also asked him about the best advice he'd ever received. He said it was a lesson that his father taught him as a boy. Nick's father was a farmer, and he relied on him and his brothers to help with the farm work. From the age of about 8, he was required to do various chores around the farm. By the time he was 13, he would do a full day's work on the farm each day whenever school was out for a holiday. On a Friday, he would line up with the other farm workers to receive his wages for the hours that he had worked. It wasn't until he was 15 years old that he realized that his friends were getting allowances from their families. In his family, he and his brother earned every single penny that was in their pockets. What his father taught him was that you had to work for your money and not simply expect it to fall into your hands. It's rare that I meet a harder worker than Nick. I've worked with him on many things, and he is a hard worker. I've had the pleasure of working with him as an author. Now I'm going to choke. An author, a speaker, a copywriter, and a coach, and have personally benefited greatly from his experience. Over the years, like many of you in this room today. That's why I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to name Nick as AWAI's 2014 Copywriter of the Year. Congratulations. Can we take a quick picture? Yeah.
Oh, right. Did I hold the thingy?
Okay.
Wow. What?
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you. Oh, man. Well, thank you. I'm going to say a few words if I can get them out. And Rebecca, I really wish you hadn't kind of done that emotional thing, because you got me going
What
now.
I do.
This is amazing. Some of you have heard me talk and teach and write about the kind of two personas that as freelancers we kind of live through. And one is the personal persona, and that's the person you look at in the bathroom mirror first thing in the morning, and certainly in my case, it's not a pretty sight. And the second persona is the professional persona, where we stand up in front of clients or talk to people professionally when we're at work. And mine are quite distinct. I can get pretty pathetic in my personal persona. But when I wear my professional persona, I go into this delusional state and believe that I'm the most remarkable individual on the planet. If none of you have found the power of self-delusion, I highly recommend it. So I'm torn here because my professional deluded persona is saying, yeah, right, I totally deserve this award. Like, I can't believe these guys gave it to Clayton Makepeace before they gave it to me, And, stuff like that. I don't know. Richard Armstrong, really? Before me, really? So that's my delusional side. And then personally, I kind of struggle, because really, do I belong beside those kind of people, those giants of the industry? And just in these last few days, I can think of 20 people who kind of deserve this more than I do. So I kind of balance, and I get totally freaked out about this. And anyway, I'm going to say, as is the tradition with these things, I'm going to say thank you to a few people. The first two of which nobody will have heard of, but I'm going to thank them anyway. The first is Peter Smitherman. And he was, at that agency, the art director, designer that I sat down with. And he'd been doing it for like 20 years, and I'd done it for 20 minutes. And we sat on one table, him on one side, me on the other. He had his pad of paper and magic markers. I had my black manual Remington typewriter. And he taught me to love the craft of copywriting. He taught me that copywriting isn't just something you do for money or do because the client tells you to. He taught me to respect it and love it and work at it as a craft, as if you were a stonemason, a joiner, like a true craft. And he said, hey, Nick, if you're a cabinet maker, you're not going to finish your work when it's good enough. You're going to make it the best you possibly can. And we used to do this thing together. We'd do a job for the client. We'd exceed the client's expectations, make it better, make it work better than the client ever wanted or dreamed of. And then Peter would say to me, he'd say, okay, now we're going to make it good enough for us. And we'd make it a whole lot better. And in ways the client would never notice, but we noticed. And that was a beautiful lesson for a young man right at the beginning, to love and respect the craft. The second person I'll thank, again, you've never heard of him, is Dave Hawkins. He taught me to move from print copywriting to direct response copywriting. He used to strike me. He would hit me when I did pathetic direct response copy. He was a East End boy from London. He grew up as a barrow boy. One or two of you may know what that means. Basically, he was the guy standing behind the stall in the market stall. And he would sell vegetables, and he was just a natural-born salesperson. Richard Armstrong says you're a salesman, not a writer. That's what Dave Hawkins taught me, how to sell. He beat the private education out of me and turned me into a salesman. So that's that. That's way in the distance, but it was very important for me. Now we get the people I'm going to thank now, so I'll move a little closer and see if I can get a little emotion. Yeah, hang on. So,
is that being used?
oh.
Oh, it's clean. It's like, who wants that dirty old thing?
So until about 8 years ago, I was a copywriter, and that was fine. And then Rebecca persuaded me, and she actually had to ask me 3 times.
Over the course of a year.
Over the course of a year, to write the first version of Copywriting 2.0. And I finally said yes and did it. And she and the rest of AWAI, in a way, transformed my life in a wonderful way because she gave me the opportunity to be a teacher. And that has brought tremendous joy and meaning to my life. I just cannot tell you, as I walk the corridors and people walk up to me and say, hey, I took your course and it's really helped and it just checks me up. I mean, I just love that stuff. And without Rebecca, none of that would have been possible. So thank you, Rebecca. And of course, Katie, Don, Paul, Mark, and hang on, I got somebody gave me money for this. Jackie, couldn't have done it without you, Jackie. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more. Congratulations.